What is up, guys? NanMan here, and we're going to get back to casting some StarCraft 2, and I figure what better way to do that than to be casting some replays from TSL5, and we're going to kind of bounce around the bracket and kind of hit as many, fun games as we can, and I figured what better way to start than with a sweet TVZ with Innovation and Reynor. So let's jump into it.
Let's move. Blaze of justice. We stand as one. Are you gonna give me orders?
All right, so we've got our blue Zerg player up here in the upper left-hand corner. He is Reynor. And his opponent spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. It is our red Terran player known as Innovation, the Machine. So, TVZ should be a sweet one to kind of just jump back into it if you haven't been following along with StarCraft 2 in a while. We'll just kind of go over some of the kind of basics about how things are going. Both players are going to be building up that economy early on, start teching up, and really start narrowing down where their tech paths are going to be going. No early aggression out of either of these players. They're just sort of kind of in this first match of a best of 5 here, so we're going to be waiting and seeing how they want to play things out. If you're wondering where this takes part in the TSL bracket overall, this is a loser match series there. Of course, these matches have already been casted up. They had a lot of great casters already scheduled for the event. Day 9 was able to come back for it. Zombie Grub, Rotterdam, like they had a whole awesome crew set up to be running the event. But event is over. DreamHack, of course, helped put it on Shopify. A lot of great sponsorships that you guys were able to see at the beginning of the kind of transition into the game, but did want to highlight that a little bit here as we're going into it because the TSL events are amazing. When TSL3, which is the very first StarCraft 2 TSL event happened, back when NanMan versus Thorazane final, such a amazing kind of historic event back then where the foreigners were kind of showing the power level against a lot of the Korean players. And we're now starting to see that again in 2020, where we start to see players are able to kind of battle against the best. Right, Reynor is one of those European Zerg players that is top level and able to kind of compete with the highest echelons of those Korean players. And already we're getting a little micro battle. This isn't really designed to kind of do too much damage depending on how well these players micro, and you see kind of a lot of low health units there with that little skirmish. It's really just designed to kind of tax each other's multitasking skills in these early stages here, kind of poke and prod a little bit and kind of threaten somebody. You're not really going to be getting stuff done. Really good Terran players could be able to pick off 1 or 2 drones there. You saw that Reynor's control was kind of top notch and able to kind of prevent that from happening. Back over on Innovation side though, he is saying, you know what, I'm all about being able to get in there and get my 3rd command center, and he's all in on this kind of macro play and hoping to kind of keep up with what Reynor does, because again the Zerg is going to be focusing more on trying to kind of build up that economy. See, 3rd base is already down here for Reynor, and how is he going to kind of keep up with this? Well, we see him sort of teching up here. We've got the factory going to start producing those Hellions here, and this is kind of the normal TVZ opening that you're often going to be seeing. We do see the tech lab getting thrown down here as well. Viking's going to be getting produced, which I always love when Terran players decide to go this route. Just kind of deny vision as much as possible, because at this point in time, right, Reynor is kind of playing in the dark. He does have that Overlord, but he hasn't really been able to poke in anymore since then. So he's going to be starting to send some Lings out, kind of flood in, try to get something to kind of happen, because he's like, I haven't really seen anything going on yet, right? You haven't really been able to show me anything, so let's see if I can sneak in, flood in a bunch of lings, and try to get in some early aggression, because, you know, it's a pretty wide open choke here. There's definitely possibility for a very skilled player to kind of get in there, and the path that Reynor took to get over here was really sneaky and something that Innovation should not have been able to have seen. But look at this, one lone ling going to be poking up here and try to get some scouting intel. Pokes up, okay, 2 Hellions back at base. Not too crazy, and then you see him sort of transitioning back into that kind of drone up here, just sort of not really finding that angle to kind of make something happen yet, saying, you know what, I've got this ready to scout and at least get me in there and poke up for some damage later on. In the meantime, Reynor just sort of being more defensive, right? You see he decided to keep those lings back at home in case more Hellions kind of came in. We've got the Queens doing their job to kind of zone things out here. Spore Crawlers are getting thrown down as well, because again, it's like, I don't know what's happening. So there's the lings poking up, they got the scout off, and they know that it is going to be that quick third command center, which allows Reynor to kind of flood in more drones, and you're going to see that number kind of tick up here as he sort of goes, okay, we're playing that sort of economy game here. A nice little snipe off, picking apart all of those Hellions right there in the middle of the map. So nice little snipe, and allowing kind of Reynor to shut down any vision and keep Innovation in the dark. And we do see him kind of pouncing on top of there, seeing if he can get the mule. He does get the mule and is able to kind of get out of there. So that is very important to kind of keep in mind, right? Mule's very important for that sort of economy of Innovation. He's got that third base. He's trying to get this to pay off, and now he's just sort of building up into this kind of big bio payout here. We do see kind of these triple upgrades coming out here as he's trying to get into it, building on the siege tanks to go along with it, this sort of support system, the kind of classic tried and true sort of TVZ style of bio tank. In the meantime, our Viking friend over here has gotten 2 kills, so still just kind of picking apart a few here and there. And it's, you know, again, we're going to be seeing this sort of classic Zerg versus Terran matchup of Ling Baneling going out at this point in time, mass economy here, and we're going to see sort of where Reynor goes from there. What is his kind of next follow-up, bigger tech kind of item going to be in the process of all this? So he does have lair tech, but hasn't really revealed anything at this point in time. 2 medevacs loaded up. In the meantime, Ling's coming in, trying to make something happen here, and they are pouncing on top of all the SCVs. You see a lot of them are able to go down. That does get cleaned up with the tank. In the meantime, medevacs are able to kind of make their way over and start unloading. Big stim up here, targets down the spawning pool, will be able to get that snipe off because you see the Lings kind of piling up. Oh, getting distracted by the Queen, which allows for Reynor to kind of save the day. That spawning pool should have been able to go down, but that nice little paying attention there of, hey, look at this Queen, look how important this is. So now you'll see just kind of this mass patrol here as Reynor's going to be ready to kind of defend against that coming out here. But again, more upgrades coming out, so it looks like more support system for Innovation with getting those drilling claws to kind of be able to help get more splash damage and more support, knowing that it's going to be this quick pouncing style that Reynor's going to be going, where he's going to be jumping on top of these units. So having those Widow Mines in there to kind of deal with that, it's really good. And the creep spread pretty much already all the way over here at the Innovation side. So Innovation has to start scanning, going out on the map, getting some idea of what is happening, pushing these creep spread back a little bit, and the medevacs trying to come back in now. Sees the Lings, okay, I can't really get much done, but very nice. Love when we get to see some sensor towers coming out of players, so at least it gives some indication of what Reynor's doing if he's going to be trying to go for that sort of push out here. But leaving a couple tanks back is really important here, but they already see scanning out, getting that kind of shark mode out on the map here to clean up some creep, but Lings and Banelings ready to kind of pounce all over that. And this is nice here. Innovation still keeping some Marines ready to kind of intercept. In the meantime, Reynor says, I don't need to worry about the top right. I'm going to go bottom left, and I'll just keep expanding downward at this point in time here. We are going to be seeing that buildup of Ling, Baneling, Hydra, which is kind of that normal support system that we see. The Hydras are a great support system in this regard to go along with it. We're going to be seeing probably some Vipers get added on in the near future, especially since we do see him getting into that Hive Tech lurkers as well. So it's going to be a battle of siege here. Both players going to be relying on that, and we see kind of small wave over on the right side gets cleaned up. Next push comes in. Good Widowmine hits, actually going to start splashing in. The first one does a decent amount, second one not so much, but you see those drilling claws making it really nice, because now they're just going to stick around without any vision, so you can be able to stay around for a while. But we know Reynor being able to kind of keep an eye on things with his Overseer, and things are looking pretty good overall between both these players. No real kind of major damage able to get done between all these players. They're trying to poke and prod, trying to make something happen here. Another drop coming up to the north side while Innovation's poking up on that left-hand side here. And look at this again, poking and prodding, drawing the attention, and there are the lurkers coming up here to try to help support, and we'll be able to start pushing that back. Scan comes down there and picks off one, might get a second one. Nope, we'll start lifting up. We see some nice splash damage going across all those units, and he will be able to kind of get away with the Medivacs. Does lose a decent amount, but that's okay. In the meantime, drop's gonna be popping in here. And, oh, already starting to research. Will he be able to get the snipe off? Lings are jumping all over that. And he does get the snipe, so that is a great denial there. I don't believe we have another spawning pool. No, so he'll have to be taking the time to rebuild that as part of his core unit base. That is kind of annoying to end up losing that at this point in time. You know, a lot of those minerals are going directly into that, so he's going to have to rely more on the Hydralisk, more on those lurkers for the time being. But a lot of Lings, though. He's ready. He's going to start moving out, and we're going to see kind of a double-pronged attack happening here. Second up at the north again. Good splash, but Baneling's still left alive. Ooh, that was a nice hit. 6 life left. 10 kills off of that guy here. Baneling's going to be able to kind of splash over while Reynor is on the other side of the map now, moving forwards. Got lurkers set up here. Sees that big army and will start to kind of reposition himself as he kind of pounces on those two vulnerable siege tanks. Ooh, good splash damage coming out here from the lurkers. Just melts that entire bioforce here, and as the SCVs try to run, they're just going to get shredded apart here. So now Innovation is stuck in panic mode here, trying to make something happen. We see he's got Liberators starting to lock this down. Will end up lifting off that expansion to kind of keep that alive here, and he is still in this. He's got this base down here in the bottom left. He did lose a lot of units, but it's alright. He's kind of able to stabilize. We see more Widowmines getting added in here, more Marauders, more Marines, and kind of rebuilding that force. You see, like, bottom of the screen here, we've got our army representation. It is still very close back and forth. That delay with the spawning pool allowed for Reynor to not have a follow-up. Oh, picking apart, almost gets a free lurker on this. Scanning, coming forward a little bit. He's got to be very careful. The amount of lurkers that we're starting to see is getting pretty high, building up to 7 at this point in time. But again, he doesn't have as many of that support systems because Lings are all over the place. They're trouncing that natural expansion, really drawing Innovation's attention all over the place. Marauders come back to kind of help support, but now it's sort of this pulling all over the place. Lings were able to force that base up to the air again, but it's not going to matter. The mule comes down to try to repair it, but it is going to end up burning to the ground. And this forest can just sort of back up, and it's really just been keeping Innovation on the back foot. He hasn't really been able to get out on the map. Like, he knows where all the bases is. He's tried to do some drops, but he's just been like, defend, 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 defend. And Reynor's just slowly pushing a boulder on top of him at this point in time. And we see the next push swinging its way over here. We've got those couple of Vipers have been added in here, as well as our Corruptors. He's just going to start cleaning up all those air units. Boom. No shots coming out of that siege tank, and GG is called. What a game. Reynor able to take that pretty convincingly once it got to that later stages. Like, there was some nice play coming out from Innovation. I really like that snipe on the spawning pool. It kind of allowed him to try to stay in that game a little bit longer, but he really wasn't able to do any economic damage, not even at the beginning, right? He did not kill off any of those drones with the Reaper. The Hellions that he had didn't really do anything, and then the creep spread just went insane. So an economic play for Innovation just really didn't pay off. He didn't have a way to kind of keep Reynor at bay either. I mean, 95 workers at the end of the game there, so really exciting first game. Again, this is going to be something we're going to get back into, start casting up more and more of the StarCraft 2 replays from TSL5, and of course more replays going forward. So if you guys like the content, make sure you're hitting the follow, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to be seeing a lot more StarCraft content. There's also going to be Magic the Gathering, Sea of Thieves, all sorts of fun stuff over here on our YouTube channel. But thanks for tuning in and watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next game.